Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Small Business Bazaar. It's MoreJoy Radio Presents, and we have a spectacular guest for you tonight. Stay tuned.
Check it.
Welcome, everybody. It is I, Lee Bailey, along with Mr. Billy Reilly and our super co-host that we love dearly, Lisa Marie. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
How
Lisa.
you guys doing?
Good. We're doing
Derek,
good.
You know what, Billy? I am so excited for our guest tonight. His name is Derrick Pearson, and you have a little bit of a relationship with Derrick. When you tell us a little bit about this guy?
So I'm excited for both of you. The last couple of months have been my maniac friends and some people that I've been in business with in the industry, and I've been overjoyed to do that. Tonight, I bring the exact human being that walks this planet, that speaks your language, more enthusiastic than any human being I know, but he does it through calm, love, and understanding through the human nature and the things that are going on. During this entire upheaval of consciousness and visiting racism, he's been a kind and calm word for how things go. I met Derrick 30 years ago through his consulting business and the way he was doing things, and then his coaching, and then some of the radio and broadcasting things he was doing, and then the love prints. I bought thousands of dollars of shirts from him, and I'm more excited about any guest that we've had. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Derrick Pearson.
There he is.
How you doing, guys?
Hi,
Derrick,
Derrick.
how are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm thankful to be here. And when I say here, first thing I do every morning is say thank you for being here. Lee, you'll probably understand this when you go through those moments.
Yes, sir.
And I've been through a few where you're not sure you're going to get another day.
Right.
The first thing I do is say thank you. So
Amen.
whenever I meet folks, I say thank you because that's what I promised I would do.
Exactly. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and I say thank you more than just people, because I know why I'm here and I know why I made it through. Right?
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, you two have a symbiotic relationship when it comes to that journey. You both were there, and you were cupped in the hands of somebody in a bigger power.
Amen.
Got you, because you both have a story to deliver, and you both have a special gift for mankind.
You know, it's the gifts are bestowed upon us, and we just have to carry it out, the plan, you know. And
Lisa, let me tell you, I've known Billy a long time, which dates both of us. We met each other when we were still young, if that gives you any idea.
Wow.
How long, and several lifetimes in between. I'm an Arlington, Virginia native. I was born and raised there. There's a lot of information that's been passed to me, and all of it's a blessing. All of it's a blessing. And 3 years ago, through all the things that we go through, I went through a surgery that was a spinal fusion surgery, and it was botched. I woke up. I found out that 27 blood clots. 27, 20 in my legs, 3 in my heart, 4 in my lungs, and then a saddle embolism, which, if you can just imagine a saddle wrapping itself around my bronchial stem to choke me out with the clots caught inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the chaplain comes to your bedside, uh, you have to answer some questions. And I always said, two things will happen from this moment forward. One, I'll be thankful for every moment of them. And the second is that I have to remember that if I get through this, I'm just going to be thankful for one more day. That's all I asked for. Every time I took a deep breath, every time I would fall asleep, I was afraid to fall asleep.
Sure.
Because they tell you, that's when it gets you.
Yeah.
So for that trip to the ICU, I stayed in bed, just kind of holding on, hoping that I would wake up. So when I say that, the first thing I do each morning is say thank you. And Billy knows this phrase from me: love first, love last, and in between, love more. That's yourself.
Yeah.
That's the people around you. That's everything that's brought to you, good or bad. And then at the end of the day, remember that you said you were going to love no matter what. And you say thank you for whatever that day brought you, all the people it brought you, all the lessons it brought you, and then one more day. So I start most of my conversations with that and this other thing. Do I have your permission to tell you the truth?
Of course.
Because we require a GPS in the things that we do. And if we agree to that, me to you and you to me, that if we go astray at any point, you can't lie to a GPS. You can't say I'm going towards love and then go in the other direction. It'll call you out and say, this does not appear to be that thing. I use it all day long. What do I need to accomplish? Who do I want to meet? What kind of person do I want to be for them? And then it helps. It helps me in business. It helps me in my relationships. It helps me in my love. It helps me. So the next person that you meet, ask them that question, because it'll set the standard for whatever's going to happen next. And that works in every avenue and park that we have. Do I have your permission to tell you the truth? Because now I can be authentic. Now I can be authentic. I don't have to play with you anymore. I can tell you the real truth.
Yeah. They open the door. You got to let them open the door. And when they open the door, I'm coming in. You open the door for me, then I'm walking in there and we're going to have a chat. So, yeah.
So, and I'm the first person that can tell you from direct response. Yeah, I've had to ask myself that 3 or 4 times until I got it straight from him that you don't have it straight, Billy. I love you, but you need to have a different focus. Got to take a different path. And if you want me to be a part of that path, this is what I'm going to need you to do. So I had to ask myself, am I losing this part of my life? Am I ready to lose him out of my life? And then I came to Jesus. My CTJ was, no, I don't want him out of my life. Cannot be a good thing. I could find no reasonable facsimile or authenticism to leave. So therefore I needed to change. So
well, Lisa can probably speak to this. Lee, you'll probably be able to speak to this. My thing is, when people are trying to find, we're all in search of love, no matter what system of life you're in. We're all in search of love. And I use the word search rather than pursue. You can't pursue love. Love is so simple and so common that when the other thing happens, whatever other than love is, when that thing happens, you smell it, you feel it, you go, wait a minute, I know what love is, and this is not it. Like, this is not it. And then you learn, wait a minute, that's me. Like, that love is me. And if I love myself and I forgive myself for all the lessons I've learned, not the flaws that I have, but the lessons that we learn. Like, we learn lessons all the time. And somebody put in us that we need to feel bad about our flaws and our mistakes.
Yeah.
No. We're not living in that. That's not loving oneself. Remember, love yourself first. If you say to yourself, I have everything that I need. And now I'm ready for somebody to come and appreciate me for this very thing that I am right now as I am. And we make the mistake. People make the mistake in dating and in business is pursuing a thing. No, that's trying to fill a hole, right?
Lisa, did we have this chat today?
We had this conversation today, Billy.
Today. Exact.
Amen.
Derrick.
That's the way it works.
Wow.
You speak my language.
It's common that like the greatest, like my victories, nothing I've accomplished was mine. None of it was on my schedule. None of it was in my plan. I just listened to the universe. I just listen. And the universe is whatever greater thing you want to call it. But when the universe says, Derrick, no. And I'm like, no, but I want this. And I'm like, no,
doesn't matter.
No, you really don't. You really don't. And that's the thing. Some of the greatest things that have ever happened to me were things I didn't get. And
things you didn't plan for.
Things you didn't plan. None of them. Like I didn't have. I'm a poor kid from Arlington, Virginia. If you're from Northern Virginia, you know Green Valley, you know South Arlington.
I went to Wakefield High School, so I know.
The rest of my family went to Wakefield. I'm the only, there's only two of us that went to W&L. I got bused to W&L, which if you want to identify yourself.
Well, then I went to T.C. Williams after that. So, yeah.
Oh, you know a whole lot of things, Lisa. Okay.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we identify. Yeah, I didn't expect much of anything. I only promised to be open to anything.
Always have been. Always have been.
Right? That I don't have to agree with your space. I have to agree with your right to be there. And then I can accept you there. And Billy and I mean, look, I went to W&L, I went to college and played baseball. I got out of that and decided, I was going to work. I worked in a collections agency. I worked for Howard University Hospital. I worked, and then I got into something called me into the restaurant business. And it was sports. That had been my life for all this time, was being around a crowd of people enjoying sports. That's how I met Billy. But that was how my mind was opened up to, there's so much more to the world than Northern Virginia, Richmond, Virginia itself, DC,
Nebraska.
Right. Well, and I'm representing the Huskers tonight.
Huskers.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Lee. He'll get there.
Yeah, and it was because of that I met people from all over the country.
Yeah.
And I had to be interested in other people. I had to know why the Aggies love what they love. And the one thing about sports, I've always said this, it'll help me identify what you love and why. Right? Because, hey, you're an Aggie. I know certain things about you. If you're from UCLA, I know certain things about you. So it was a connection. And then through that, I met Billy Reilly. And I'm promoting. I went from Champions Falls Church to Champions Tyson's Corner to the Grand Slam Sports Bar. I was all over the area promoting bars. And it was just a nation of really cool, interesting people who made me realize that I was the only one limiting myself.
It's true.
It was a beautiful thing that I was taught by, there's an actress friend of mine who said, the only person in your line for your life is you. There's nobody else that can get in your way. There's literally nobody.
But don't shortchange yourself. When you just named 3 of the hottest bars at that time frame, you were on stage at 3 of the premier bars in the metro area. So you were in touch with every upper echelon. And when I say that, royalty, Michael O'Hara, the Marriott chain who created sports theory and where it goes. That's why Champions went there. All of those 3 locations you just named, I sold beer to, or was a part of your marketing success. Mm-hmm. And it was a great ride.
Well, it taught me to ask questions. There's a lot of smart people in the world.
Don't ask
right?
that many though.
No,
Don't
but
ask
there's a lot of smart people in the world,
Right.
and we can get caught up in trying to show that we belong,
Right.
rather than we're supposed to learn.
I'm here to tell you, you certainly were more than fit to belong, and everything that you did turned to gold in those locations. So congratulations.
I was proud of that, but it was also the thing that happens, right? And it happens in dating, it happens in business, where there was a moment in all of those places where the bosses and people in positions of power said, "You really think you're better than this?"
And you were.
And you go, so if you're dating, you folks out there and you're single, and somebody says, "Well, you think you're better than me," that's time for you to go. That's when you know that you have maxed out in that environment.
Right.
And but each thing led me to a next greater thing.
Of course.
And, I'm at the Grand Slam, and I get the phone call from Charlotte, North Carolina, saying that they've got a new football team. And a guy that I met while I was at the Grand Slam and doing television, of course, Larry Michael and Doc Walker and those guys brought me into sports while I was in DC because they trusted me, and I'd earned their trust. I never broke their trust. And then they said, "There's a new team. Are you interested in coming down here?" Well, I had never done my own show, so I panicked. I did what we all do. This is bigger than me. I got no business. I showed up, and they've got a full production, and I'm waiting for the broadcast police to show up and go, "What are you doing?" You don't belong here. Except I did. I was supposed to.
It was your time.
I was supposed to. And
if you wait till you're ready, you'll never do it.
We never trust
We're never
ourselves.
Ready.
Right? We never trust ourselves.
Yeah.
We listen to people who fear us and hate us way more than we do people that love us and know us.
Wow.
And we
Profound.
have to change. We have to change that. You listen to people in your dating past. We believe the people that said wrong things about us and bad things about us way more than the people that know us at our absolute truest and will speak the truth about us. We'll fight the people that love us. You're wrong. I'm not that good. But that person who doesn't really love us, we'll listen.
Yeah.
We'll digest it. And we have to, like I said, this journey along the way was love first. Is this thing true? No, it's not. No, it's not.
Right.
Well, a lot of people don't want to. A lot of people don't want to see you succeed because it reminds them of their own failures. That's why they do that.
Right.
That's usually what it's about, Lisa. That's usually, it's a fear of, can I really measure with the person that I'm with? Right? Can I really measure with, I think I deserve a 10, a 9, a 10, or 7, or 8, or whatever that is. And then you get above that and you go, this is going to end poorly.
So
go ahead. No, but so what we should have is that thing that says, I'm being elevated. I'm being lifted.
Right. Derrick, who was the gentleman that was the NBA guy who recently passed away from cancer, that was the sideline guy on the NBA? He would be on the floor with all
the Wild Jackets.
He's from Craig Sager.
Right.
Craig Sager.
So
Craig Sager,
So I'm going to tell a quick, bear with me 1 second. I was in the upper management for a beer company called Premium Distributors. At the time, Derrick made this move down to Charlotte. Within less than 6 months, we were all invited down to the opening game for the Charlotte, for the Carolina Panthers. They were playing the Washington Redskins. So we all went down for a weekend. And we got to this bar that Craig Sager used to own, where Derrick would do a lot of his work and his show at it from time to time. And we're in this line to get in. Now I got the president of Premium, multimillionaire, the Rays. I got Robbie McDonald. I got all the vice presidents. And I walk up the door and I said, hey, kind of, we're all here. And the guy says, well, we're trying to get everybody. I said, is Derrick Pearson here? And he goes, hey, you know Derrick Pearson? I said, yeah. He goes, come with me. Please come with me. Boom, round to the back, in the door. And he'd been down there for 6 months and knew everybody. I want to end this quick little segment that I had a chance to talk to Craig Sager about a year after that. He was always impressed with you, whether he got to you during his illness or not, to tell you that, Derrick. He always professional, the right guy for what was happening there and made the difference in Charlotte. Just want to make sure that you know that.
Me, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
He got me when I was in Utah, when I was in Salt Lake City, working for the Utah
Well,
Jazz
important.
flagship.
Wow.
No, because it hits dead on.
Right.
That I'm doing the pregame and postgame locker room for the Utah Jazz radio, and Sager's there covering the playoffs for TNT.
Right.
And we end up in the same space, and I'm not really paying attention. I'm not even paying attention. I'm doing my job. And I get a tap on the shoulder, and he spins me around, and without saying a word, he just gives me a hug. And he said, "It's so good to see you." He goes, "Again." And he wanted to let me know, to acknowledge that he recognized me. He wanted to do that. After we did the interview, and I was the first guy in the room, so I always got the Jazz and the opposing team first. Mm-hmm. And Sager just kind of stood to the back. Now, he had never seen me do that kind of work. And he went back and he said, "You don't belong here in Utah. You're bigger than this." And I went, "Oh, man." And I did that thing, right? Oh, man.
Yeah, because you didn't have that vision for yourself, which goes back to what you're talking about, that we underestimate our journey, right, and the things that we're doing.
Yeah, and that's for me, and Lee, I can tell you, my thing with Billy has always been this: we're kindred energies. And I always wanted, it's that thing, right, where you want good for people that have a good heart, who may have static in their way.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that Billy has a good heart, but I see it. So
he's got a great heart, right?
Yeah, he does.
And there's Persona, right? There's Ramrod.
Yeah, there's Ramrod.
Right? But then there's Billy.
That's right. Exactly.
And Billy on the one-to-one will listen. Billy cares. Sometimes Billy will tell you, "I've got all this energy and I don't know what to do with it."
Yeah.
Most of the time when that happens, I just tell him to talk, because we'll get to it. We'll get to the good part.
So, Derrick, in the movie, Tom Cruise did Jerry Maguire. At the end of that, who's the guy? Is that Roy Firestone?
Yeah, Firestone.
Hey, listen, I don't care what you say. You're not going to make me cry, Derrick. You're not. You are not going to make me cry.
You've already started.
I can tell you that you are better than any church preacher or anybody else. I follow you because I feel better about myself after dealing with you. So I appreciate you.
Well, no, I walk into a room, and again, it's first thing, I came for love, baby. Like I don't control what anybody else came for. Right. I came for love, and the mission is this: I'm one person, but I'm going to get the love of three people as we sit here. Yes, see, I understood. I already understood the exponential value of love. Yes. Right. It is the most powerful thing, and it's the most important thing. So when I meet you, like, it's a hug fest, and we say, "Listen, because I don't care how much love you got on you when we meet, you're gonna have more when I'm gone. I'm gonna leave you with some. I've got plenty. I can't run out."
Yeah,
it's not possible.
It's infectious. Yeah. Right. It's infectious. It's been in my life. It's been in my life for over 30 years. I've watched it manifest. I've watched it grow. I've watched it expound itself to many, many things. And I want you, Derrick, to talk about your Woodson experience, A to Z.
It was interesting because, again, I'm an Arlington kid. I knew of Woodson from a distance because of Red Jenkins and Tommy Amaker and Pete Holbert and those guys. Mm-hmm. But my buddy Barry Thompson was coaching in Fairfax for FPYC, and he called me. We ran each other. We hadn't seen each other for 15 years. 20 years. And we ran at each other at a little league event. And I said, "We need to hook up," because he was my captain in football. Like, that was, and he said, "I need you." We went to the weigh-in on Saturday. On Sunday, he called me and said, "I need you." And I'm like, "I'm in." And he goes, "Well, you don't know what it is yet." I'm like, "Wait a minute. You're my captain, bro. Like, you're my brother from way back. When you tell me you need me, we don't have to talk about it. I'm there. Ask me if I'm there. That's what I'm answering." And he says,
Right.
I'm supposed to coach at Woodson. I've got a bunch of kids and I don't have enough coaches. He had lost coaches.
Hold on. So you guys know, this is WT, not
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
not
HD,
DC, right? Not HD.
Yeah, this is
Right,
WT
right.
Woodson.
Right.
And,
Our hood. It's our
Yeah.
hood, Lee.
and it's all your people. I mean, we
Right.
found out later how
Right.
connected it was. But I went in,
all my hood.
yeah, like to coach freshman football for a year with just me and Barry, which with 50 kids, 2 coaches at a high school level is not the way you want to go about it. But
No.
we said there are common theories that we have that he and I shared that we were going, if we were going to do this, we're not going to just go through the motions and coach freshman football. Listen, you're going to trust me with 50 young spirits, 50 young souls, and I can either waste their time or I can love them. And that's not always the way it's done. So we said we know the value of academics. So we took his concept, my concept from Utah, and we put it together and we came up with a study program. And we said, what we're going to do is ask more of you than you could possibly ask of yourself, because we know that you have it in you.
So wasn't that a contract that you guys drew up, like when the first team
with the players, the first day
team in Northern Virginia to have like a contract, not a verbal ask. These kids were asked to transcend athletics into family responsibility and trust.
Right.
Community, that you weren't going to be anonymous. You were going to put on the jersey. You weren't anonymous anymore. Like, you can go through the motions as a high school kid if nobody knows who you are. I wanted them to put the light on.
Yeah.
Put the light on your face and let people know, sit in the front of the class, that if you're waiting around school, you have a book open, that you're accountable for the 24 hours a day, the 7 days a week. We know what that 168 is. We know how many hours we spend educating ourselves, how many hours we spend on basketball, how many hours we spend at church, how many hours we spend with our parents or our little brother or our little sister or helping the lady across the street. Because when you tell them that you're paying attention, they actually become accountable for it. And each week they would sign these forms. They'd hand a paper to each teacher they had. And on it, it would say, here's everything we did this week. So here we are, Miss Stewart. Here's everything. Did I miss everything? Did I miss anything? No, you got everything. Is there anything I need to be reminded of? No, you're on board. Okay, would you do me the favor of please signing this for my parents? And they'd sign it and take it home. And they show it to mom and dad and say, listen, this is for every class that I have. Here it is in black and white. And it's signed by a teacher. And I need you to sign it as my parents to say, you're aware of what I'm doing and you care about what I'm doing. Now, imagine being a teacher where you find out whether your work is appreciated. Are they getting it?
Yeah.
Am I teaching you in a way that you understand? Am I creating leaders in the front of the class who, if somebody else can go through and ask a question, remember, there's IQ and then there's shared IQ. You and all of us, we're all really smart, but we're all smarter together.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can get student athletes who people can perceive to be less than intelligent to sit at front and to pay the most attention and to take the best notes and to pay attention. And at the end of the week, they hand pridefully. See, one of my favorite things is every Monday is to have my captains who now run the program after week one, after I told them what's required, have them walk to me and hand me this paper, the stack of papers with all these signatures of these adults, these grown-ups who gave them enough attention to love them. So love them and say, I'm proud of you.
So Derrick, the bird that you're hearing, that's the approval bird. When that guy starts to squawk his shit, that means that he is on board and he's digging the rap that's going on.
You know how animals are with me. So
that's right.
Animals talk to me all the time. So
I want to make sure to interject that not only did this take hold there, Derrick's program got national attention because what he did was make athletes cool to be in the front of the class. You didn't sit in the back because you were a badass football player. You sit up front because you had knowledge. He transformed how high school football and sports on the whole should look. Of course, there was a lot of kickback here and there, but I watched young men come out of this that may have had bad households, may not have the father to lead them, may have troubled, this was the beginning of the troubled generation. And I watched a transformation that's now, it's statewide.
Well,
it's not national.
I coach 3 sports, which is rare in this day and age.
I saw that in your biography. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
I question my sanity sometimes.
Not like football was going to be enough.
But Woodson, and then of course we moved up from freshman to JV to varsity, and then all 3 sports. And what happens is, for every hero, you need a nemesis.
That's right.
Right. You need somebody in the room who was afraid of goodness taking over. They don't want to be accountable for it.
This is going to be important, Lee. This is going to be important because this is the crux of exactly what I wanted Derrick on here. Don't leave anything out, Derrick. Tell the whole story.
Well, we went through, and when I got there, there's a lot of preconceived ideas about W.T. Woodson and what it is, right? What it was. I had students that said, you know what, I don't need to do more academically. I'm good. This is W.T. Woodson. We're the smartest school in the area. And I'm like, yeah, but what about the people that aren't? What about the people at the bottom? The standard is set at the bottom. Can you, as a leader, help the people that need help? Don't just ride it being great by yourself. Elevate the next guy. Elevate the dude that needs, it might be your notes that helps the really cute girl sitting in your classroom, right? Or it may help your little brother. And the athletic director, and again, I don't have to say names, everybody knows who they are, but resist it. Like, we don't need to do that. It's a little too much, and it's weird because I had, and God bless her, I love her to death. There was a mom who Googled me back then, even then, to see who is this guy that's asking more of my kids, and he's demanding that they be better people. And somehow she missed all the good stuff and got to some guy in another state who murdered his girlfriend. So she approached and said, well, I thought this was you. And I went, okay. Again, permission to tell the truth. You don't know me. But if you'll pay attention and get close, if you'll lean in, you'll find me.
That's right.
I'm right here. I'm easy to find. And if you trust me, I'll do something really cool. So watch. And the beautiful thing is this, that of the kids who played for me in 3 sports over 9 sports seasons at W.T. Woodson, we won 78% of our games played. But you see, I never talked about winning. I talked about being accountable and being on time and being a good teammate and a good person. And a weird thing happens. I also managed to get 78% of those student athletes to become scholar athletes, and 78% of them had a 3.5 GPA or higher.
Wow.
That's in every sport. That's in every sport. And you say, listen, we get what we ask for in dating, in contracts, in life. How we treat ourselves, how we treat others. We get what we ask for. And in a school that is academically proficient, this is a great public school in Fairfax County, 58% is the number for most student athletes at W.T. Woodson. We managed to get it 78%. And I said, what this is love.
Sure.
It's love. That you get to be proud of yourself when you walk down the street and you get to share with your buddy that, you know what, I have it under control. I don't have to panic about grades, and I don't have to panic about my standing at the house. We had a Smiles project that I challenged this one baseball team with. How many smiles can you generate in a day? And here's what happens. Here's what happens. And I say this whenever I give a speech, when I give a keynote. I walk in the room and I find the biggest, toughest, baddest dude in the room. And I say, there's one thing you must know about me. And I lean in real close, and then I smile. And I say, my smile is undefeated, and so is yours. Once we establish that, the power of being able to get somebody out of themselves for a moment, right? What happens is, of a team of 25 kids, first they want to do 5 a day. Coach, define a smile. Okay. First, love first. Who are the people that love you first? Your parents.
Sure.
They love you first. Do something that they normally do for you. You do this for them. Make them a meal, clean their room, do something for them. The last thing at night, clean your room. That's your room. That's where you fall asleep. And in between, any opportunity you get, find a kid who's sitting by himself. Go and talk to the girl that you have a crush on. Go and say thank you to the teacher. Go next door and knock on the door and ask them if they need anything. That 5 became 10. That 10 became 20.
Yeah.
That 20 became 50. And I had 25 young men who generated 50 smiles each week for a month.
Nice.
By opening doors for each other, for doing the laundry. Like, I have to play for me. The first week of practice, you have to go home and videotape yourself doing laundry. See, you want me to treat you like a grown-up, so you need to do grown-up things. So guess what? I need proof that you're going to love the people that love you. Take the burden off. Make me a video of you doing the laundry so that we know your mom doesn't have to do your practice gear and your game gear every day.
That's amazing.
Go, and I need a video of you cleaning the bathroom, because you're trying to go to college, and this is a daily interview for trying to get into college. So you're going to take your 168 that tells this board of regents that you know how to manage your time. You don't flunk out of college because you're dumb. You flunk out because you don't have a plan. You don't manage your time. So these kids all go with that plan. Then they know how to take care of the room, and they know how to take care of their clothes, and they know how to make a meal. And when you get there and you go, listen, I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how cute you are. But when you get to college and they don't know you, they don't know Fairfax County, what you better be able to show them is that you're a human being. You're a grown-up. You're a grown-up. And all of these kids, that transcends, because now we're waiting for practice. If I walk in the locker room, every book will be open, and you better be able to tell me what's on the page you're on. That's because I'm not wasting time. Yeah. That's 30 minutes a day, twice a day, 5 times a week. If I want to teach them better how to shoot free throws, do more of it.
That's right.
If I want you to be better academically, do more of it. If I want you to love more, do more of it. And we take that onto the court. I helped Doug Craig win his first regional title. I helped Doug Craig win his second regional title in a back-to-back. I get the baseball program ready. And they chased a very good man out of the varsity coaching position for no reason other than they wanted somebody that they could control. I had zero desire to run a program. But when I saw them, and I called it out in advance, I said, I see what you're doing. You're sabotaging this guy. And that's not love, and that's not cool. They were going to put somebody in place, and I said simply, listen, I can't allow this. I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. And I went to the parents of the kids who love me. And I said, I want to be there to love your kids. Fairfax County has some issues. I love Woodson with all my heart. I can say that truly and sincerely. I don't have a bad memory. Not even this is a bad memory about that place, because I wasn't supposed to have that. Mm-hmm. But they named somebody else head coach. And I said, this is too familiar. That in Woodson's 55 years, they've never had a black head coach at any sport. Now, I'm in the building. I'm in the room. And I'm checking all the boxes. Look, your kids are happy. Your kids are successful academically. Your kids are successful athletically. Your kids are great in the community. And you tell me that I am not good enough to love your kids at the highest level. And I said, okay, all right. And Billy heard the story. Billy stepped in. Him and Tom Jackman got to work. I want to tell you something, Billy, on a side note. I don't even think you know this. It didn't end well. So the principal named me head coach. They went to the county and had it reversed because you shouldn't make the athletic director look bad. Okay, fine. Imagine this year. So actually 2019, I was reached out to by the senior class, this year's senior class at WT Woodson, who had seen one of my TED Talks. And they said, we need this guy to speak at our graduation. We want to offer him the commencement speech. And they called me one day, and I was in Houston, and they offered it to me, and I said yes. And as a matter of fact, I said, listen, I'm going to write this I'm going to sit down right now and write it. And I wrote it, and I sent it to them, and I said, I'm going to tell you how this is going to play out, because there are going to be two people in that building that don't want me to give the commencement speech. Right. And they're in a position of power. But that's not why I wanted to give the commencement speech.
Right.
I wanted to love those kids, and I didn't need to be on the stage that day to do so. Mm-hmm. So I wrote it, and I sent it to them, and I gave it to them. And then I sent them bracelets. I made custom bracelets for the class of 2020 at Woodson. And then I called Tommy Amaker, who's Woodson's most noted alum, coach at Harvard University. And he was on my radio show here in Lincoln. And I asked him if he would make a video for the class of 2020, just to say he's proud of you. And he did it. I say all of that to say this. I wasn't supposed to have that job. I had left enough love at Woodson that when I left, that 5 years later, it's still there. That there are people that knew to reach out to me because that DP dude's going to love us. So they did that. But it also inspired me to create and craft my first TED Talk, which wasn't on my bucket list. It wasn't on the list of things I thought I was capable of doing. It wasn't anything that I thought was in me until those Woodson kids asked the question again. And then a second TED Talk came up. And they're two entirely different stories. I'm not in my head, I'm not a scholar. I'm just the dude. Like, I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude, right?
So,
but it was good.
If I may,
it was good.
If I may, Derrick, when you brought up Tom Jackman, just so Lisa Lee and our viewers know, Tom Jackman is the ace, crime, fairness for the Washington Post. He jumped on the story right away. That facilitated both the connections and all. And this tidal wave was happening, and I was kicking sand in it to make sure. But you know what? I got a phone call 2 months after all it started. Post article broke. All hell broke loose. Race, this, that, and I get a phone call. It's Billy. I said, yeah, Derrick, what's up? Billy, put your swords away. Was it meant for me? And I don't want you to have any more consternation about my journey. I love you. You have had my back, and this is. I said, no, you got to be kidding me. I'm gonna get somebody's ass. You got to be. I was over the moon, and he talked me back with love and peace. So I did.
It was funny.
I was scheduled to talk in front of the school board. I was scheduled to blow up.
Do you know that they used that article as the reason why they rescinded the commencement keynote speaker position?
Right.
They used that article to say, Well, we never really resolved it. And I said, it's so funny. As much like all the good stuff in the world, there's another record I hold. I'm the first guy to be hired and fired within the same week for a job and never coached a game. And then hired and fired as a commencement speaker for speeches I never gave. So all by the same people. And I could be angry and I could be bitter, but Woodson gave me so much. It gave me faith in people and good people. It gave me faith in myself. It gave me faith that what I was doing had purpose and reason. And there's nothing more powerful than knowing your purpose, which is to move people. And to tell you, the first TED Talk is about Woodson High School, and it's about my smallest player. And if you ever get a chance to check it out, but Carl, a player that my athletic director told me not to keep on the team. I don't know what good he's going to do. You're making more work for yourself. And I said, no, this is a good kid. And I always say that first, right? You love the first player on the team because he's the best player. You love the last guy because that's the guy you spend the most time with as a coach. Because you have to train him the most, you have to ask the most of him. And then in between is how you move around. But Carl was the tiniest guy. And the TED Talk was simply about finding your way, looking for being present and finding the good in a person. Period. Find the good in a person. There's value. There's no reason to say that somebody doesn't have value. This young man had value. This kid had it, but he just didn't know it yet. And he needed somebody to hold his hand and walk him through that. And the other part of it was my first captain at Woodson, the very first guy that I coached. He was a captain, known family. And it was his mom who Googled me and found the wrong name. But he pulled me to the side and he said, Coach, we don't need to do all this stuff. We don't need to do it. And I was told that this kid was going to be president of the United States one day. And they said, you got to get this guy on your team. And I pulled him to the back and we went, there's a shed. And if you've ever been to Woodson, you know the blue shed.
Yes,
right?
I do.
And I took him behind the shed and said, listen, brother, this is not about you, although it is. Your teammates need you to lead them. I need for you to lead them. Isn't that what you're here for? I'm not sure that I have my time at Woodson without this young man. And
wow.
He went on to become a student leader at Woodson. He led the cavalry at Woodson. He led the student body at Virginia Tech University and is now a police officer in Fairfax County. And he's not done. He's not done. And if I only get one right, and that's all of them, because it's the only I can't afford to get them wrong because they're all somebody's baby. But if I get one right, that's the one, because that's the hard one. That's an important one. Coaching is parenting without rent.
Right.
It's teaching them how to be good young men, teaching them how to date, right? Because sometimes you need a voice outside of dads, outside of moms, somebody that I would hear the stories that the parents would never hear.
That's right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And the kid listens to you often, maybe more than he listens to his mom and dad, because he figures, mom and dad, you don't know what I'm going through. The coach knows. Well, I don't know how that works, but
the other part is that I have proof of cause. Like they can see the life that you're living.
Yeah. And
that's the part of leadership that people forget. You have to be living a life that you say you are, that people envy, that people aspire to. I can't lead you from the bottom. I can't do it. And so for me to tell them, listen, I'm you. It doesn't matter what color you are, what religion you are. I'm you. We're out here for the same reason. You love this game. I love this game. You're trying to be a better human. I want you to be a better human. We can find the commonplaces in it. And that led to the second TED Talk, which, again, one TED Talk, what are you talking about? Are you mental? No, it's not going to happen. The second one happened. as is the story about most Black people in America, was your legacy, your DNA chain breaks because it's a separation and connection of continents and information storytelling. And most of us can find out now through science, right? Science, that's what it's there for, is to give us information. And facts are left to be known. But to find out where, like, I never knew where I came from. I never knew who my people were. And on my 55th birthday, I got a present that allowed me to use the folks at Ancestry to do the homework and to find out who I was. And Lee, let me tell you, I got knocked on my tail because I found out that 6% Irish and 3% British.
I was just gonna say you're from County Cork, and you got Reilly in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I knew that.
To find out that
the bird agrees.
Right. To
Right.
Well, so we talk about the 6 degrees of
60% Irish.
the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Right.
He's my sixth cousin.
See,
Yeah, I found out that I part Jewish, Irish, part Russian, part Pacific Island. Like, I'm all over the place.
Unbelievable.
And so what it did was a couple of things. One, you start diving into the science and you find out that every human on the planet shares 99.9% of the same DNA. So if you made a book and you turned your 1,000 pages, most of them are the same. They're identical. And then it's the 0.1% that we should become curious. We shouldn't lean away from, oh, this is where things get interesting. This is where it gets interesting, that 0.1% where you go, there are 3 million opportunities here. And to find out that as a kid, all the lessons that I learned in elementary school and junior high and high school, instead of them being about other people, they were about me.
Yeah.
They were about me. And they were about you too. That I could no longer be upset over racism because my people were the first people who died in the Civil War and who killed in the Civil War. They were both cousins. They were both cousins of mine. So all the blood that was shared was mine. All the blood that was caused was mine. And if we start to work from we versus me, we'll recognize that all this stuff, right? I start finding out that, wait a minute, I can tell you who the European slave masters were who created mixed race kids. I know who they are. I know their names in Virginia. I know the addresses. I found out who my real father was. I found out, like you go, wow, top of the moon, like take top of your head off. And then to go that I am close, I am related to 19 presidents. I'm related to Donald Trump at the same level I'm related to Barack Obama. By DNA. I can't make it up and I can't lie about it.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that you understand that every time we were together on March 17th and why you like Danny Boy, Lura.
And to the heart, right?
And what am I going to do with the drunken sailor? You know where it's coming from, bro.
I know where it's coming from.
I got you. I got you.
Right?
I got you.
You start to understand so much of the connection.
Just amazing.
To things that have no explanation. And this is America's story. Like if somebody, they asked me to come up with the title of this TED, and I said, "What defines an American face?" And we all have this picture, like a president or some founding father, and then you go, "It's your face." Like how many people thought of themselves? How many people thought of me? Right? That this could be the face of America. And then you go, I really can't be mad anymore because all of it's mine. I'm accountable for it. The good, the bad, the in-between, I'm responsible for it. And I can love it or be mad at it, but either way, love will make it better and the other will break it. And I don't want to break it. I don't want that responsibility because it's mine. It's yours. And the moment we accept it and claim it, that here we are in this thing, right? That Johnny Appleseed is a sixth cousin and Sacagawea is a seventh cousin.
I thought Johnny Appleseed was fictitious.
No,
Is
no,
he a real dude?
Yeah, he's an actual dude, and
really,
he's my sixth cousin. He's my sixth cousin, and
that's
it's just
awesome.
Well, but that's why you go. Listen, there's so much of our stories that we hear about, and it's from a distance, and we don't kind of connect to it, and then you go, "Wow, this is like if we ever get it, if we ever decide we gonna get it right, we can't lose, but." We better get the we part right.
Man, I thought Johnny Appleseed was second cousin to Paul Bunyan and the Blue Eyes.
Real dude.
He's a real dude.
Yeah. Real dude.
Dude, you learn something every day.
So
I like to hold on.
So is the Pied Piper.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I thought he was right down there. I want to Lee and Lisa and Derrick, if you will give me one quick second. We've only got a limited amount of time left, and we're not halfway through this story. I'm going to ask Lee right now as my producer, and Lisa's my co-host, that we get some final sentiments from Derrick. And if he's available next Monday, we bring him back for the trip.
I would love to.
For the trip to Houston, on his journey to Nebraska, his beautiful wife.
Can you do that, Derrick?
Can you do that?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
So let's take our final rounds and just, I'm so thankful because we could go till 10. And I know you can't, Lee. So I want to tell you that I'm overwhelmed with it. I'm honored. I'm honored that he's my friend and stuck by me through everything, up, down, sideways, because I brought him to all that. And every time I come through it, he's like, Billy. And every time he does that, I listen, and I'm better for it.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, I can say this. I'm flawed, but what I've decided to do is not punish myself, but accept the lesson from my mistakes.
Wow.
Like I have to accept. There's one of my favorite comedians, and I just did a podcast with her. Her name's Monique Marvez, and she closes her show each night with this saying that love hard, forgive harder, and get as happy as you can, as fast as you can. And to me, that if I remember love first, love last, and in between, love more, if I remember that I need to cover every person that I come in contact with more love than they approach me with, right? That the other thing, I want you so covered in love. I want my daughter so covered in love that when a bad dude comes up and is not loving her, it will not stick to her. She'll know what it feels like and what it sounds like.
Love is Teflon.
Right? Yeah. Like to understand what it is. And Billy's heard me say this a million times. The one mistake that we can make with love is keeping it to ourselves. Love out loud. Don't regret. Don't have any regret. Never let anybody leave you without knowing that you love them. Make sure they know. That's in sports, we cheer. We never leave a cheer uncheered. In relationships, we leave love and then we go, man, how come you didn't know I liked you like that? Because you didn't tell me. You didn't show me. You didn't show me. So the people around you, next opportunity you get, love them out loud as often as you can because that's what it's for. That's what it's for. And then finally, I smile a lot because I know that I'm blessed to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on. I appreciate the love because, again, everybody that's here will be loved more now than they were before. And if there's any doubt about why you are here, ask yourself this question. What are the odds that the four of us end up in the same place at the same time?
Right.
And if you don't think that there's something bigger than us that put us together and that we were put together for something, anything other than love, we would be telling a lie.
Sure. Amen. Thank you very much. Derrick, can't wait to have you back next week, my friend.
It was an absolute privilege to meet you.
It's nothing is lost on me These guys have endured a bunch of numbskulls that are fabulously doing great things. Record store owners, national DJs, and they all have funny, good story. Our show is powerful. We're reaching a lot of great people. Tonight was life-changing.
Yeah.
It will be again. So
and you're gonna cry next week. You're gonna cry next week.
Oh, he cried this week.
I did
You're gonna
not.
cry.
Yes,
I did
you
not.
did. Yes,
I did not.
Yeah, you did. You did.
When we hug you, cry. You're gonna cry.
Well, all right. I'll tell you. If I do, it's worth it.
Yes,
And
indeed.
this was a sermon that needs to be heard. So I encourage people to look at the TED Talks and get to know this man better.
We're going to put up the links for those on the MoreJoy website.
All the links will be up for your shows, Derrick.
Yeah.
And everything that we're doing. And I could not ask for two better co-hosts in both this show and our Wednesday night show. Love Hacks. We're killing it, and you'll enjoy. You got to watch it. You'll get a good laugh out of it.
Absolutely, I'm in.
But I'll tell you, even through my big heart, it's been built on love from Derrick Pearson. That's why my heart is good.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Derrick, thanks again. I wanted to say thanks to Pam Green, Rosamondo, Steve Dave, Pat Malone, Lyndon Lansdowne, Smokey was watching, Tora Arsala. I just want to say thanks to everybody for watching. I want to especially say thanks to my co-hosts, of course, Billy Reilly and Lisa Marie, and our parrot friend. And also, I want to say thank you, Derrick Pearson. I would maybe offline this week sometime. I might text you and we can have a little chat.
Absolutely.
Because, you had a lot of good stuff to say. A lot of stuff that I'm right with you on. And definitely want to chat some.
Let's do it.
So like the show and share it. It's right there.
Absolutely.
Like the show, share it, let people know, because if you don't tune in to listen to this guy, you're missing out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I will redesignate this when we do a watch party as part 1.
Yeah,
perfect.
And tune in next week for part 2. All right.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you, Derrick.
Best to the wife, D.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Barry Thompson also jumped in there and said, DP! There he is, Barry Thompson. He also, he said, thank you and love Prince.
He's the
love
best.
Prince.
Yeah.
Love Prince, baby.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right.
Thank
All
you.
right, guys. Thanks a lot.
guys.
Again, Derrick.
See you next week, Derrick.
Appreciate you.
See you next week.